Hi guys, welcome to our class Business Mathematics. And our topic for today is all about employee compensation and benefits. I am Engineer Jerome K. Aliado Layoren, your subject teacher. So let's start with employee compensation. Refers to a remuneration given to an employee in exchange for his or her services. This is a legal and moral obligation of any employer to its employee. This includes wages, salaries, employee benefits including sick leave and vacation leave, and incentive pay including productivity pay, commission, override, bonus, and profit sharing. Most graduates go after employment and receive employee compensation after finishing their course. But there are exceptional people who use their creativity and innovativeness to create something new and become entrepreneurs. Experience gained from employment is an advantage. You see, Mariano Ke, founder of Mercury Drugstore, was once an employee and became a founder of a store that grew into a business empire. In this lesson, we will learn to differentiate salary, wage, income, and compute gross and net earnings. So let's move to classify or differentiate salaries and wages. When we say salary, it refers to an agreed and fixed annual amount of money that an employee receives regardless of their work, while wages refers to a usually associated or are associated with employee compensation that is based on the number of hours worked multiplied by the hourly rate of pay. When we talk about salary, a fixed compensation is periodically paid to a person for regular work or service. While we talk about wage, generally the employee earning hourly wages while paid in a week that follows an hour works. And salaries associated with employee compensation quoted on the annual basis such as 500,000 per year or per annum. It is while wages it is used where the amount of money of an employee received may vary from one pay period to the next as the amount of pay is directly dependent on the number of hours worked. Now, salary is a regular payment by an employer to an employee for employment that is expressed either monthly or annually, but it is paid most commonly on a monthly basis, especially to the white collar workers, managers, directors, and professionals. Wage earners are under the no work, no pay policy, which means they are only paid the actual number of hours or days that they work. Now, the differences we look on salaries. When we talk about salaries, these are the people employed, like teachers, principal, uh, administrative staffs, nurse, and doctors, wherein they have an annual salary or a monthly salary, while wages are usually the nanny, the gardeners, the helpers, and all other workers that work with a no work, no pay policy, or we say the job order workers. Now let's move on to the piece rate. A worker employed in a piecework basis is paid in proportion to the quantity of work he or she finishes. The rate used can be fixed irrespective to the quantity produced, in which case it is called fixed piece rate plan. On the other hand, it can be graduated, increasing as the quantity produced increases, in which case it is called differential piecework plan. Uh, Let's have an example for the piece rate. And Mia is paid on per piece basis, work at a rate of 1.20 pesos per piece. If she finished 360 pieces a week, how much is her total earning? We compute the total earning by multiplying the quantity and the rate. Now, as given in the problem, the quantity is 360 and the rate is 1.20 pesos. Now, the total earning of Mia would be 432 pesos. That would be the total earning of Mia. So let's move on to income. When we say income, it is the money that an individual receives in exchange for providing a good or service or through investing capital. Wages and salaries are income to the person receiving it. However, for people who are not employees, their income may not be in the form of wages or salaries. They can have a commission if they are paid for a commission on sale they make. Rental income if they make properties, if they have properties they rent out. Dividend income if they are stockholders. Royalty if they are authors, and firm's income is in the form of profit that the business earns. Now, let's have an example for this. Jonas D. is a stockholder of the ABC Corporation. For the current year, the corporation declares a 10% cash dividend to stockholders. Jonas owned 1,000 shares of the company's 10 pesos par value per share. Now to compute the dividend income, number of shares multiplied by par value multiplied with dividend rate. So let's compute. The number of shares of Jonas D is 1,000. Par value is 10 pesos. And the dividend rate is 10%. So that's 0.10. So the dividend income of Jonas D would be 1,000 pesos. So let's move on to the next, which is the gross earnings or pay. Gross earnings or pay. The gross income of an individual refers to the total amount he or she earned before deductions are made. It is the amount earned by any person before subtracting the taxes, benefits, loans, and other possible deductions like GSIS contribution, SSS contribution, Pag-ibig contribution, PhilHealth contribution. Now let's move on to our example for gross earnings or pay. A teacher who gets a basic monthly salary of 20,000 and living allowance of 2,000 per month compute the annual gross income. To compute the annual gross income, base pay plus allowance we multiply it by 12 months. In this case, the base pay is 20,000 plus the allowance of 2,000. We multiply it by 12 and we will get 264,000. So now let's move on to net earnings or pay. It is the amount earned by any person from the gross earnings less the deduction. The net income of an individual is the difference between his or her gross income and deductions. Example. Example of deductions applicable are the tax, SSS or GSIS contribution, PhilHealth pag-ibig contribution. The deductions can be fixed amount or a percentage of the basic salary. Let's have an example for net earnings pay or pay. A teacher who gets a basic salary of 20,000 and living allowance of 2,000 pesos per month has an annual gross income of 264,000. Given the following deductions, find the annual net income. We have the deductions here and the annual. The total deductions would be equal to 64,020, and the gross income would be equal to 264,000. Now the total or the annual gross. Now the net would be net pay would be equal to 264,000 minus 64,020. That would be equal to 199,980. That would be the net pay of teacher, and this is an example for a year annually. Thank you for listening for the part 1 of the discussion of the employee compensation and benefit. Check out for the part 2 of this. Thank you and have a great day of learning. Bye-bye.